Hello, I'm Dave Peach, and this is the Crawfordsville Peachcast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. See them in person or at tricountybank.net. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Crawfordsville Peachcast. I'm Dave Peach, and we are sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and by Central Indiana Rubber Products. Dave Meyer joins us today. Dave, what do we always say at the start of the show?
Hello.
Hello, Todd. We had the I was going to say we had the extinct honor, but it was actually a distinct honor, right?
It was, Dave.
We talked to participants of the 2024 Reds Caravan on the West Coast tour for the Reds. They made their way to Crawfordsville, Indiana. We will have interviews with Marty Brenneman, Jeff Brantley. Marty is the legend. He's the legendary voice. He really needs no introduction. Baseball Hall of Famer, Reds Hall of Famer. Jeff Brantley, current Reds broadcaster and former Reds pitcher. Nick Kroll, president of baseball operations. Our good friend Jared McMurray with the interview there. We talked to Carson Spires. I'm looking at it right here. Carson Spires, a right-hander, played a couple of games last year in the majors. And also Jacob Hurtubise from Zionsville, Indiana, a minor league outfielder, 25 years old. And we had a great time as we're recording this. Yesterday was the Reds Caravan. You were there, Dave.
I was, Dave. It was a great group. Great job, Dave, by the radio station team, putting everything together and working with the Reds. It was a first-class operation, nicely done. And I tell you the thing, my biggest takeaway was just how affable, engaged, friendly, and grateful these folks are. You know, sometimes when you're running folks from the home office out to the affiliates to try to kind of drum up, it is a little bit of just kind of shake and bake back and forth. But there's genuine love between the fan base and the team. And you heard that from everybody there. And so besides just honor of sitting with Marty Brenneman and listening to him talk and him talk about specifically his connection with Indiana and with Bloomington. So, things that I had never thought about, talking to a Hall of Famer, as well as the genuine excitement that we've pretty much had from all the folks that came out and stuck around and enjoyed the time. So it was, I think, a win-win-win for what was a dreary week outside. It was certainly warm in the Montgomery County 4-H place there, Dave.
It was a 4-H building, David.
The 4-H building. I should know the proper sponsorship.
You've been there enough. You should know the name.
So, no, I was tickled, Dave. It was a fun experience, and really, I think the Reds are, it's not the Reds of a couple of years ago. This is the Reds that were exciting to watch last year and won a lot more games. And I think the interest in them locally and nationally is going to be high. So it's a fun year to get excited for the Reds in spring training.
Are you looking for great prices? Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. This is Bria French. With Tri-County Bank's Merchant Discount Network, you can get discounts on food, entertainment, tools, and so much more. All you need is a smartphone and your TCB Smart Rewards checking account. Cost savings are only a click away. Terms and conditions may apply. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Reds Caravan stop here in Crawfordsville, and we are joined by, it says on the program, legend. I think that is aptly put, Marty Brenneman. Marty, how are you?
I'm good, David. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Nice to be here.
It is. I mean, it's so cool. Dave Meyer joins us. Dave, I'll let you ask the first question of Marty Brenneman.
Marty, what did you do in Bloomington last night?
That's a good question. I was a little bit put out because we were supposed to get there by 9 o'clock. And that was very important for me because we were coming from Evansville, and I've learned over all the years of going on Caravans that the schedule is never kept as it is stated on a piece of typewritten paper. And so it was important to me because I have a grandson who's a freshman at Indiana, and we were going to get together and have a late dinner, and we didn't get there until 9:45. So he came over, and we spent about an hour together, and he was worn out because he's pledging a fraternity, and they're beating his brains out. And so he had to get back and get some rest. But I spent an hour with him, and I was up there in early October. And it had been since Coach Knight was coaching at IU, who was a dear friend of mine, and I reacquainted myself with the campus, which is a great campus and a great town. Bloomington's a wonderful town. So I'm thrilled to death. He's up there. He's just close enough to be, just far away to be on his own, but close enough to be home.
That's fantastic. Now, you go back. I mean, you think about it. The Reds and IU both had incredible years in a year. Well, 75 and 76.
Correct.
IU almost in 75. The Reds in 76. There's some. I guess there's some beautiful symmetry to that.
There is. There's no question. That was the undefeated team.
76,
Cat Benson and that bunch. Yeah, Scott May, and of course I have to inject a little bit of personal opinion and bias because Scott May's son eventually went to North Carolina and now has been a long-time assistant coach down there, which is where I went to school. But there was symmetry, and I used to kid Coach Knight because I called him a front runner. He was really tight with our club when we were beating everybody's brains out. And likewise, we were big fans of his basketball teams when he had such a wonderful coaching run there. And it's unfortunate that he's no longer with us. He'll always be remembered. His legacy was one of excellence, and more important than that, graduating his kids, which he was a stickler about, and God rest his soul.
Well, let's get to this year's Cincinnati Reds team. You say that this team has you thinking about a similar bunch in the 80s.
It is. Somebody asked me that a few weeks ago, and I said the group that immediately comes to mind was the one that came up in the mid-'80s. Paul O'Neill and Barry Larkin and Eric Davis and Cal Daniels and Kurt Stillwell and Tracy Jones, 6 of them. And it's about 6 in this current crop. That team, with most of those guys later on, 4 or 5 years later, won the World Series when they swept Oakland. And this is a very similar bunch in terms of talent, in terms of their being so fundamentally sound and playing the game. And it was just an exciting team to watch play. It was the most exciting Reds team that I can remember since the 1999 team that had to win 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee the last weekend of the season, managed to win only 1, forcing a playoff loss to the Mets, didn't make the postseason. That was a fun team to watch, and this team is really a fun team to watch.
Looking at this year, not calling games, do you ever sit when they, like last year, when things started to stir, do you think, boy, I wish?
Dave, I've not said it one time. I've not missed it from the day I walked out of the radio booth on September the 26th, 2019. I've not missed it once. I've often viewed it like a chapter in my life, and I turned the page. 46 years, as I tell people, is long enough to do anything. And when I'm home, and I don't go to the ballpark very much. I tell people I don't like crowds, and so I don't go down there. But if I'm home, I'll watch the games without fail on television and turn the sound down, listen to the radio. And it was I just got caught up in it, but I've not missed having to go down there and pack to get on and charter airplanes and fly all over the country. Instead, now my wife and I are traveling the world. We've been to Europe 4 times. We're going back again this summer. And everyone should enjoy retirement as much as I have.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yes, sir.
We've lost Ben Scully.
Yes.
The Ernie Harwells of the world. What young broadcaster do you see out there, or broadcasters that you see are going to? Obviously the Reds announcers, but what do you see? What do you see as far as the next Ben Scully, the next Ernie Harwell?
Dave, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think there is one, and I say that not in any way minimizing the young talents that are coming along, but like somebody said to me, you realize you're the last of a dinosaur. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, even though they came before you and Jack Buck and Ernie Harwell and Vin Scully and guys like that, there'll never be another crop like you guys again as far as Major League Baseball. And there are reasons for that really maybe to some extent impact the fact that we were personalities, that we were talented, but a lot of guys are talented. I think what it says is that with a preponderance of games on television now, you'll never have that magic again. I don't think that radio singularly had, because there were very few games being televised back in the era when Scully and Buck and Harwell, even when I came in 74, the Reds only did 25 games a year on television.
Yep.
And I'm happy that anybody wants to include me in that group, because those guys were idols of mine. Vin was a dear friend of mine. Jack Buck was. Ernie was the sweetest man I might think I've ever known in baseball broadcasting. And just to be mentioned in the same breath with those guys is a real honor for me personally.
Marty, again, welcome back to Crawford.
Thank you very much, Dave. We love coming back here. You guys have been so great. Your loyalty and long-standing tradition as a Reds on Radio affiliate means an awful lot to us. And as I've often said to people, we're not a major market team, and this franchise, along with some others, could not exist without stations in small towns like we have in Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio and Virginia and Tennessee. So you folks are very, very important to us, and we appreciate the years that we've been together.
Marty Brenneman. The Cowboy joins us here on the Reds Caravan, Jeff Brantley. Jeff, let's get right to the good stuff. I mean, last year, what a season. As you look back, it was very exciting in Cincinnati. Attendance was up, excitement was up.
Yeah, I think anytime you've got a bunch of young players with some talent that play with their hair on fire, because that's what it seemed like a lot of times. It seemed like it was a bunch that took the fight to the other team. Now, were there some rookie mistakes and some problems with that? Sure. But I think as you move into 2024, you're going to see some guys that make adjustments to what they saw at the end of last year, and I think it's going to make them a better club and better players.
What, as far as the end of the season, not what the Reds wanted, as far as, at not making the postseason, what can they do differently this year to kind of seal the deal in September?
I think a lot of it comes down to health. I think that's one of the reasons that Nick and the front office have kind of put together a club with a lot of depth, not only in the starting pitching ranks, but in the bullpen and especially in the infield. You hear that question all the time. Why do you have so many infielders? You mark my words, not every one of those guys will make it out of spring training. Somebody's going to get hurt and somebody's not going to start on time. And that's the reason that you have to have that kind of depth, especially now that we have the designated hitter in the National League.
What are your thoughts on 2024 after the success in 2023? What are some things you're going to be looking at in April or spring training in April from this team?
I think the focus has to be on the starting pitching. I think that when this club was on a roll last year, they were getting solid starting pitching every 5 days. And I think that's really what it takes to be a club that is going to be a contender where you get into the 90-plus win mark. And that's really what it takes this day and age to get into the playoffs. But let's face it, it all comes down to your starting pitcher on any given day.
Well, Jeff, as far as the broadcast goes, what's the thing that you enjoy most about being at Great American Ballpark?
I love the baseball. I do. And last year was so much fun because you had not only fun baseball and quality baseball on the field and competitive baseball, but you had so much excitement in the stands. And that makes it really an awesome day.
Jeff, we look forward to hearing you coming up in February, March, April, and
right around the corner.
We'll get the Reds going here. That is the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley.
Jared McMurray here with Nick Kroll, President of Baseball Operations, Cincinnati Reds, recently promoted to that position back in September. Previously, the general manager. Nick, you got your start in baseball with the Oakland Athletics, is that right?
Correct, yes.
What was it like working under Billy Beane?
I
It was an unbelievable experience for me. I mean, what that group let me do, working in the clubhouse, working in going on scouting trips, taking a major league trip as an intern bat boy. It was a lot. They let me in on conversations. They let me learn, and I really can't thank them enough for that opportunity.
Been with the Reds now a long time, since 2003.
Yep.
Nick, you guys made the decision a few years back to really change things, focus on player development, kind of that top to bottom approach, the winning mindset. You feel like the Cincinnati Reds at this point can win now. You can win with what you have. Talk a little bit about that change.
Well, I think first off, we looked at where we are, and we are a smaller market. We're never going to be the LAs and the New Yorks, and that's okay. I'm grateful for that. It allows us to just be who we are, and being who we are is a big thing at the end of the day. And so we looked at it, it's like, how can we build a winner? And it's through scouting and player development. If we have a good core in player development every year, we're going to continue to produce players and have a good core at the big league level. If you're just trying to go for the big league and you neglect player development and scouting, you're going to lose your base. And having a good, strong base is how we're going to win.
Well, I think if you look at the teams who are spending all this money, look at the teams at the end of the year that win championships. They may have some of those free agents, but they have players that came up. They're on those rookie deals. They're affordable. You guys are saying, hey, we can develop players that'll win championships, bring championships back to Cincinnati. It's been 34 years now,
and that's it. It's we first focused on, okay, we're gonna draft and sign different players. We're gonna sign more athletes, and we want to start winning in the minor leagues as well. We want to win and continue to win in the minor leagues. By making the playoffs in Chattanooga, by continuing to push for playoff spots, and that's going to help teach our kids win as well.
Reds 82-80 a season ago, following a 62-100 season back in 2022. Spent time in first place last summer in the NL Central. 12-game winning streak back in June. Heading into 2024, no Joey Votto. He was a fan favorite for so many years. Right?
Oh, he's a favorite of mine as well. I mean. Yeah. I've known Joey for 21 years. Since I started with Cincinnati, he was in the minor leagues, and it's something that I respect him, and he is a Hall of Fame player. In my mind, he will be in the Hall of Fame someday, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, with that fan favorite gone, it's been since that 2010 to 2012 run. A lot of success there for you guys. How do you keep the game, or how do you keep some of the best fans in the game of baseball happy?
Well, I mean, for us, it's about winning.
Right.
We want to win. We played with Joey Votto for a long time and didn't build a winning organization. Right. But now it's our focus is on building a winning organization, and we've got a lot of good younger players that got our need to play in the big leagues and need to have time, at first base or DH. And I think that's what went into the decision to not keep him. So for us, it's all about winning. It's not It's not just about, hey, we want a good player here or there. We want to be able to win at the big league level.
Final question, Nick. Last year, you finally saw your new approach from 2019, kind of that change paying off. I feel like there was more pressure last year to prove that you were getting it right, or more pressure this year to keep it sustainable and keep winning?
I don't really feel look, our goal is to build a winning organization and a sustainable winning organization. It's not just a one year thing. So it's a constant build. It's a constant build. I think that's every year you feel the same amount of, okay, last year, even though we might not have won at the big league, it was very, what your focus was is still the same. Is continuing to build your core, and produce major league players and produce winning, and then start winning championships.
So rare for, small market teams. They do win championships, especially in baseball. It doesn't necessarily always happen in NFL, NBA, NHL, but a lot of times it's, flash in a bottle. It's one or two off seasons, that they're successful, and then they go back to rebuilding. You guys in Cincinnati, you want to prove that you can be successful and compete for NL Central championships every year, even as a small market team.
That is the goal. That's the goal. We want to win championships, and we want to be sustainable winning, not just, hey, we want to have one winning season, and then we go down and rebuild for 10 years.
That was Nick Krall, President of Baseball Operations with Cincinnati Reds. Jared McMurry here with Carson Spires, who made his Major League debut last year for the Cincinnati Reds. You've mentioned a couple times, I've heard you talk about being in those high-pressure situations. You guys were competing for a playoff spot. How did you balance that with, your first taste of big league baseball?
I think that's what every baseball player plays for, is those high-pressure situations where you can kind of come in and prove who you are as a player, as a pitcher for my sake. So it was fun for me to kind of get in those atmosphere, get that experience to where I can kind of carry that over to this year and my future opportunities that I get.
Not the first. A lot of players have come before you going undrafted, making it to Major League Baseball. But within the Cincinnati Reds organization, they have sold out for the minor league system as far as developing you guys. What does that mean for you as somebody who is, truly going the hard route?
Yeah, I've been blessed with a bunch of, outstanding pitching coaches and pitching philosophy guys. Kyle Bodie, when I first got signed, was the minor league pitching coordinator for us, and just what he implemented to our 2020 class and the guys that kind of came behind us and stuff really changed the culture and the dynamic of how we're learning how to pitch and the philosophies that the Reds were learning what to do. And it came from Derek Johnson all the way down, but Kyle was kind of overseeing the minor leaguers that you talked about, and that really just changed the culture, changed the way that we attack hitters and stuff. So me having that opportunity to kind of be in the system at that time really impacted my pitching career. It helped me in tremendous ways, and a lot of my arsenal that I pitch with now is credit to guys like Kyle Bodie and Brian Garman that I worked with.
Talking with Carson Spires, 26 years old, from Greenville, South Carolina. Yep. You followed a lot of family members that played baseball for the University of Clemson. Final question for you. You started a couple games, a couple times in relief. What's harder?
What's harder?
Being a starting pitcher or coming in relief?
Yeah, what's harder?
Not which do you like more, but which do you think is more difficult?
To be honest, it really depends on the time of the year, Okay. I think early in the season, being a starter is harder. You kind of have to go longer in games and stuff like that, so the wear and tear on the body physically is a little bit harder. However, later in the season, it's a grind. It's tough. It's tough for all those guys in the bullpen, and being a closer, being a back-end guy. You get worn down too, and then you're expected to kind of come in the last few innings and shut the door. So mentally, that way, being a bullpen arm is harder. But I would say early in the season, starters are throwing a few more innings and stuff like that. So physically, it wears your body down a little bit.
Thank you, Carson. Best of luck 2024.
Thank you, man.
Jared McMurray, we're here with the 2023 Reds Minor League Position Player of the Year, Jacob Hurtubise. Jacob, a Zionsville resident.
Yes.
And before baseball, but before getting into the Reds organization, you were drafted by the Mariners.
Yep.
But back up before that, from Zionsville, you went to Army West Point.
Yes.
Just a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, it was a great experience going to West Point. A lot of the things that I learned while I was at West Point, besides the military portion of it, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the mental side of the game, learned how to be resilient, learned grit, learned toughness. So a lot of those intangible skills that I was able to carry into this next profession of professional baseball, I really gained from West Point.
39th round pick, 2019 by the Seattle Mariners, came over to the Reds in a trade. An organization that's really invested in their minor league players. What's that meant to you that, hey, they're invested in you as a piece that will work up through the system and eventually make it to the major leagues?
Yeah, during the off seasons, I've had a lot of opportunities to continue to grow, not just in baseball, but as a person. I was invited to strength camp. I was invited to instructs my very first year. So the Reds do a lot of different things to invest in their players and just try to help us get to that next level.
As far as minor league players, Reds organization last season near the top in almost every offensive category. You'll start 2024 40-man roster, big league camp invite. What are you most looking forward to?
I'm just looking to going out there and seeing how I stack up against the rest of the guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Competition is going to be fierce, but we're looking to try to win games at the next level, and that competition in spring training is going to be a lot of fun.
Since you're an Indiana native, just lastly, quickly, your favorite memory of playing high school baseball in Indiana?
Yeah, it would have to be my very last game here in Indiana. I played in the high school state 4A championship at Victory Field. We ended up losing to Roncalli, but it's a memory that I'm never going to forget.
All righty, thank you. That was Jacob Hurtubise, 2023 Reds Minor League Position Player of the Year. He'll be at Big League Camp this spring for the Reds.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Central Indiana Rubber Products, locally owned for over 40 years. Central Indiana Rubber Products is customer focused and offers commercial custom hose, gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Central Indiana Rubber Products is a dedicated supplier of banjo valve products, spill absorbents, hoses, gaskets, and belts. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West 83 North in Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com.
Segment 3, Crawfordsville Pete's Cast, Cincinnati Reds edition. I think people are probably picking the Reds to finish 3rd or 4th this season. They'll have a lot to say about that. 162 games, as we learned last year. You got to not only keep yourself in it at the All-Star break, but you really have to seal the deal in September. And I think I said seal the deal to Jeff Brantley. So you heard it twice in this show, which I hope doesn't bother you that much. But you've got to close. You got to finish. As they say in golf, drive for show, putt for dough.
Well, and I think one of the things Marty touched on is that having that core group of young players who are now they've been together a year and they've tasted a little bit of success. They've tasted a playoff race. What have they learned from it? I was curious yesterday who would, with Joey Votto gone, who is the most tenured Red? Looked it up, and reliever Lucas Sims, and went and listened to and heard him talk about from his perspective looking for this year. They are not satisfied. I think last year was exciting, but it wasn't satisfactory. They now know what they need to do, and the Reds have made some moves, and I think there's excitement, and Cincinnati being the baseball town that it is, I think people are hungry for a longer taste or a better outcome than they had last year. We'll see.
Well, I have an anecdotal theory about last year's team. I think it was a Saturday game, and I'm watching a game. I listen and watch. I mean, I don't turn the sound down, but I listen to the radio, I watch TV, whatever. But Ellie De La Cruz stole home against Milwaukee.
I believe, didn't he steal 2 bases in 2 pitches?
I think he stole all 3 bases. I'm rolling it back in my head, but I do remember. And I could not remember a time that I've seen someone actually just steal home, like pitcher wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And he stole home.
Right. It was and it was against Milwaukee and one of their, I think, good relievers. So it was almost like, this guy can beat me and I don't have to throw too many pitches. So
now
it represented some fear.
But what I want to say is that from that point, I'm not sure the Reds beat Milwaukee again.
Yeah.
It angered the Brew Crew.
Lit them up.
And there's another phrase that you could say as far as what it did to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think it fired them up. I'm having trouble with my voice today. I always have trouble with my voice, but I think it fired them up, and the rest, as they say, is history. I mean, they never looked back from that game. From that moment, Milwaukee never looked back. They beat the Reds every time. They just kept motoring to the division championship. The Reds had their problems. I know they were swept by teams that were down in the standings, had a little chance there in the last couple of weeks to, get a big hit here or there, could have made their way into the playoffs. But, not only do you have to be good, but you have to be comfortable being good.
Yeah.
And you got to back it up. You got to back it up. And, we've seen it in basketball. You play a good team, you steal the ball, and if you celebrate a half second in your mind, guess what they're going to do? They steal it right back.
Right.
Hey, I stole the ball from Connecticut. Whoops. Connecticut just stole it back, and now they're going in for a dunk. Well, I guess I shouldn't have celebrated. Or I guess, you got to kind of let down maybe for a half second, and the good teams will make you pay.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, part of the lesson of last year is just that. They have to be able to close. They cannot be just excited and passionate and raw and talented. They have to take the next step to be smarter. That's one of the things they talked about with Ellie De La Cruz. He, at the end of last year, even though some of his numbers weren't showing, he had gotten better in terms of the pitches he was chasing. And they look at his minor league career, and every time he's made adjustments, and every time he's struggled, and every time he's gotten better. And if that guy, Dave, if he figures it out and gets, with that level of talent, that level of confidence, whoa, the Reds will be a talked about team. So that would be a fun year.
Well, I think, in fact, I'm pretty sure that his jerseys are the top sellers.
Yeah.
No question about that. He has the opportunity to be a very marketable star of Major League Baseball. I mean, he has everything. It's just a question of, is he going to be able, as you said, you got to get on first base to steal second base. So, there's that. And, obviously a fantastic start to his career last year, something that really captivated not only Cincinnati, but a good part of the country. And, that's a good thing to have, but ultimately you got to look, you got to take it up when you get to that one level, you got to find another gear to stay there. And, I look at the Reds this year, and it's a big year. This is second year for the crew. They don't have Joey Votto, as you talked about, being the leader, the OG, the guy that everybody, maybe they joke with, maybe they laugh with, make some old man jokes and all that. He's gone. The kids are in charge.
Yeah. Kids are in charge. Ellie De La Cruz, that number 44 jersey, echoes of Eric Davis of yesteryear with his arm and his speed, and hopefully he can, stay healthy and figure it out. And this group, this is the fun part, right? When you have these young players that are getting better together and you can still afford them, right? How good can we get? How quickly, so that we can, be as good as we can and possibly keep them together. So it'll be an interesting year, Dave.
We'll have our eye on the Reds and our eye on an untoasted movie, Being There, with Peter Sellers, coming your way right here on the Crawfordsville Pete's Cast. Dave, always fun to talk to you.
Dave, my pleasure. Love being a part of the Peach Cast.
It is the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and Central Indiana Rubber Products, providing the power for you. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Todd.
We've gotten better at that.
Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. I'm Dave Peach. Join us every Thursday for a new episode on Apple or Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and download the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. This podcast was produced and edited by Up There Media and is a presentation of Fork Broadcasting Digital.